Greetings, welcome back, RealVacantLand.com. My name is Luke Smith, and I'd like to talk about data. I believe real estate runs on data. I live and breathe data. I'm always trying to figure out data and make it dance, right? So, I've been buying and selling properties on this YouTube channel for a good long time. Made lots of videos about different properties we've done deals on. I've sold lots of properties through brokers and other angles without making videos, and just lots and lots of properties. But if you're watching this, you're probably used to watching my videos. And in the past, I've got some videos that show how to do data to find properties, buy properties, trade properties, and do deals. This is another educational kind of video and down that line. So if you're just looking to buy a property and be done with it, this isn't your video. If you're looking to learn, welcome and enjoy. Feel free to ask questions, throw them in the comments. So today I'm working on some retail properties. I've been working on retail properties because somewhere along the way I was trying to buy some properties to put houses on, and I got some offers accepted that were high traffic retail, the busy street corner, like the corner of Main Street and Main Street or something like that, right? And it looked like a place where the shop should go more than a house. And I started doing research, and I found, working with friends and partners and everyone else I could talk to and figure out, I started finding tenants for those properties. And some of those tenants bought those things and took off with them so fast I didn't even know what was going on. They probably thought they were robbing me blind. But I bought them so much cheaper that I was happy too. So I said, I got to figure out how to find, circle, corner, get more of those properties, high traffic retail properties. I studied lots of properties that I traded, and those were some of my favorite trades, some of the best returns, the fastest timelines, and the most accurate, the least competition. And so I targeted lots of those properties. I've bought and sold lots of them over time since those first ones I was figuring out. And I've been getting much more sophisticated at the data. High traffic retail, like I got some of these examples on the screen, like a Wendy's or a drive-through kind of location, a McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. There's a lot of data. It's about who's driving by, what their demographics are, where do they eat, where do they stop. And it's also about studying the neighbors. If the neighbors are there, then who's missing? And who's missing is where I like to dance, because who's missing is who belongs here, right? And so if we can study all that data, we can come up with how much sales are happening in the area. And when they're happening at those shops, they're usually happening at these shops that are missing too. And with the kinds of sales that are happening in the area and figuring out who's missing, we can calculate how much sales they should do in these locations. And we can present it to who belongs here. We can say, this is how much sales you should do here because of all your peers and neighbors and what they're selling. This is what you should sell too, based on what you usually do when you're next to those people. And because of that, we can figure out what kind of rent we can charge those people. So we can charge them a rent that works. Some of those who goes here names don't have enough horsepower to pay the rent, and some of them do. And so it's studying the data. This is part of the science, or the data dance behind the scenes of figuring out who goes into one of these properties. Let's jump into it. I've been working on this one. This is Tableau, and I'll put a link in the description below to go play with this if you want to play with this. And the data on this dashboard is dialed into a specific location that I'm working on a video or two ago. On YouTube, you see a sales pitch for buying a property in Michigan. It's a part of a shopping center. And so this data is it's based off of the shopping center and the people that are coming and going to the shopping center and their demographics and the shops that are in this area and who's there and who's missing. And this is part of the who's missing. So I'm not going to get into super details on this and go down the rabbit hole on names and contact information, locations and stuff of each one. But this is a broader eagle-eye view of who's missing in this location and give you an idea of the start of the data dance to get to the specifics of who belongs here. Okay, so I set this up as a tree diagram, and the squares on this diagram are different categories. The different colors are different categories. Categories being this larger brown one being like fast food, and the green one being like taking care of your body, like haircuts and stuff like that. Down below, it's coffee and ice cream kinds of stuff. And Some of them are restaurants, some of them are oil change, which is not going to work into this location we're talking about. And other sit-down restaurants, like one of them says Moe's on there. It's more of a sit-down kind of restaurant class. And so I made some filters to filter this data. So a lot of other systems are clunky, but Tableau, you can move it liquidish, so you can dial in this particular space is like 4,000 something square feet. So what happens if we go 4,000 to 5,000 square feet? Oh, it was now it's gonna make me reconnect. We'll see if I can get this to pull up really fast, but you can start changing the numbers. So let's say it was 4,000 to 5,000 square feet space that we're looking at. Now it's different names that come up in the 4,000 to 5,000. But what if I wanted to split the space into two, and maybe I wanted to make 1,500 square foot out of one and 3,000 square foot out of another, something like that, and it got 45,000 together. I can start playing with the numbers and get different names that come up. So as we go down in square footage, there's more names. It's like going down in property sizes, there's more properties to go after. So as we go down in square footage, there's a lot more properties we could do. And you can play with that and play with those parameters to see which ones you want to target depending on the property. Got cannibalization, so it takes into account other shops that are in the area. And so if we open up the cannibalization and we just go for like something higher, we're not going to have very many that are, so these are the neighbors. We got Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and Domino's Pizza and UPS store and this kind of stuff really close right into this shop. So these are the ones that are already there. And if we lower the cannibalization, like say we don't want the ones that are already there and we don't want to steal traffic from the neighbors, and this cannibalization is dialed into drive times, average drive times to one of these shops. So some of these shops might have a 30-minute average drive time and others might have a 5-minute average drive time. So we're studying average drive times because 5-minute drive time shops you could have 10 minutes apart quite easily, right? If the demographics support it. So we've got those kinds of studies built into the data. And then, if you're renting to one of these names and you want to have a national brand, right? Because if you have a big name tenant, it's a lot easier to go resell the building, which is what I want to do. I want to resell the building for a lot higher dollars. And the more locations they have, the more brand name and the credit rating and everything they have, the better of resale you might have. So we could look at national locations. So this data set for this property, I mean, some of them are up to 13,000 locations, and that's like, trying to think who that might be, Shell or something. It's probably Subway, I don't know. But let's say we want to have ones that have 200 locations nationally or more. These are going to be ones that have a much easier like name recognition when it goes to reselling the shop. So in the fast food stuff, it's like Papa John's Pizza and Firehouse Subs and Del Taco and Raleigh's and Mod Burgers. Some of these don't fit this particular space, but they fit it square footage wise, but they're missing the drive-through location that some of these would like. Um, now let's say we want to have ones that are in state. I can play with this. I got it set right now that maybe we want to get somebody new that's not in state. We could change this around and we could say we could open it up to ones that are not in the state, and then Waffle House starts showing up. If we want 2 of them or more, Waffle House disappears in the state. So like Waffle House is usually south a lot more, right? Than this location is in Michigan. And so we've got relative fit score that looks at the demographics and then, economics and all kinds of things like education and income and race and how much their houses are valued at and all these kinds of metrics into the fit score. I'm going to skip over that one for simplicity. Let's get to, so if a location has nearest location in miles, like I got it dialed in right now that it's 10, well, let's do less. Let's do close ones because we've got cannibalization up there. 5.5 miles is one of the closest locations to 300 miles. So we're just targeting properties that are within 300 miles. They have a location within 300 miles. Within 300 miles, they could probably get in a car and drive over here. What if we just went for ones that are within 100 miles? It might be a lot easier to get those ones to come over and take a look at it. The field of names didn't change that much, but it did. It changed some. And then let's go down. We've got square footage. So we got square footage on here twice. Okay. I'll fix that later, but we already played with the square footage up here. Um, let's just get rid of that one. Nearest location. So we can play with location. We got nearest location on here twice too. I'll fix that. But um, there's the property. So if we do all these kinds of adjustments, then we've got potential tenants down here. And in the dashboard of this is the view, but in the actual dashboard of it, you can just download. I don't think you can do it in this view, but in the back side, okay, filter it all out, and then you can just download, or you can, bring in the names that you want to choose. And then I've got data sets of all the locations for those properties that are in the area that fit. Let's say we want to do this. We got it down to the 100-mile radius. So all these brands that are in the 100-mile radius, I can go and we can start calling them and texting them and sending them emails and sending them letters and marketing to them and saying, hey, we got a location for you. We think you go here. We think this is the property for you because XYZ, and pitch them on it. And then they call or they go look at it and they figure out. And if they want to go for it, we stick them in there and it increases the value of the property, usually quite substantially if I'm doing my job right. And then we can sell it for more, right? So that's the beauty of this data. I think understanding the data, how to cut and slice and dice the data and using tools like Tableau to do it are a wonderful thing. I wish I had used Tableau much more. I've used it years ago, but I took a hiatus of using it. I don't know why. I should have been using it all along the way for these kinds of approaches. And so thanks everyone for asking questions and trying to answer and show. And feel free to throw more questions into the comments below, and I'll try to make more videos to answer more questions as we go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is Luke Smith, rulevacantland.com. See you in the next one.